Welcome. We're back. We are fully back in the studio. The whole crew is here. Todd's here. The man with the voice, Pedro, he's back there. I know y'all missed us.
I mean, it's only three of us. We're like the three ninjas.
Three ninjas strike back?
Yeah, you like Tum Tum back there.
Oh my gosh, we got a good show for y'all. It's like everything's back in the swing of things. First day of school, well, for freshmen and
sixth graders in middle school, and I don't think anybody else went to school today. Oh no,
elementary.
Maddie had first day of school today as well.
Yeah, the elementary, that was it's always eye-opening when you see a kid's last name and then you ask them who their parent is, and you like, okay. Like, I had a few of those today. I was like who your parent?
A lot of kids be asking me, you know my daddy? You know my mommy? And I'd be like, probably. It's just, but the thing is, they ask me names. I know so many people. I tell them, go ask them if they know Todd. Light-skinned Todd with the waves. There aren't that many of me around, so.
Yeah, I'm good with last names. First names, no. So if I was looking at last names today, I was like, oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, they're all gonna blend in after a while, bro.
I think I know your daddy.
Yeah.
I had to ask too. I'm like, is this person related to you? They're like, yes.
I don't even like telling kids I know they peoples, because they think I'm gonna be nice to them.
Yeah.
I'm like meaner to them. Nah, I'm not really mean, but I'm stern. I'm more stern with the kids who are family I know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's like, no, you ain't gonna be acting crazy in front of me.
Oh, I tell them, they're one message away. I'll send them a quick message that way.
And then you got some people, look out for my kid. It's like, I'm gonna look out to a certain extent. I'm gonna watch your kid get in trouble. That's just part of life. Yeah. I'm not saving your kid from getting attention. You know what I mean? No, I got attention all the time. And my mom knew plenty of people that worked at Pickering. Yeah. So
it be like that sometimes. But yeah, school's back in session now. We'll see you back in June. All right. Let's get into some sport. Okay, Serena Williams' run has come to an end. Career came to an end. She lost in the third round. And I think at that point, after that, it was just like, who even cares about the U.S. Open anymore? Because the biggest draw just lost. I mean, granted, there's still some great players and there was some great matchups to happen, but it's still just
nobody cares.
It's like the main course is gone.
Well, she's the greatest tennis player of all time, one of the best female athletes ever. Mm-hmm. So yeah, she overshadowed the event, which should happen because that's her legacy. Should do that. Yeah. So unfortunately. Even when you win, do they win a trophy or the plate?
They win a
Trophy? All right. When you win a trophy, nobody's gonna care. Like, granted, kudos to you. Yeah. Your hard work is applauded, but unfortunately, you're overshadowed by.
Yeah. This year is not the year you're gonna get the shine. It's not that. For the following years, yes, just not this year because it was all about.
Whenever a great retires, you just gotta take whatever comes with all that. Even if you're at the height of your career, you just got to be like, all right, that person had a better career than me, and my career is still going, and theirs is ending, and they're great. So you just got to just deal with being overshadowed, unfortunately.
Yeah, even the lady that beat her, it was just, you were probably like, oh, yeah, I don't remember who she is, but it's just one of those things. Like, no disrespect to her, but it's just one of those things. Like, people are gonna forget that you beat Serena because it was just like, no matter win or lose, it was just gonna be all about Serena and all that stuff.
Her family won't.
Yeah, her family and
won't. Her supporters and family won't, but like overall, most people will.
Yeah, that very, very valid point. and then there was some this former tennis player who said something about like Serena never embracing her and stuff like that. She's like, I forget her name. Her last name's Court, but she like got 24 majors. She's the one that's one ahead of Serena overall majors. And then a random video pops up of Serena giving the lady her props, like an event they were at together, like literally next to each other at an event, and Serena was talking highly of her. So it was just like, what are you talking about?
She just wanted to remind people that I'm still in the lead. But the thing is, your influence sucks compared to Serena, so nobody cares about if you got one more than her, because Serena's influence is just universal. It's different.
Margaret Court, that's her name.
Don't care what her name is.
That's her name.
She can be named after a tennis court. You see last name Court, and we don't care. Because she's mad about, it's no different in each generation mad at the new generation for having more influence than they did, even though they might have been better.
Yeah.
Bro, bro. It's just how it goes. Yeah. I'll never get mad at the next generation, the kid having more, like, I was just talking to somebody about Mason and John now and them, the English team.
Yeah.
I put them ahead of my back-to-back teams. Do I think their team beats ours? No. We have grown men on our team. Yeah. But they played their Division I in English, so they're ahead of all of us. Yeah. And that's just what it is. Like, there's no, you know what I mean? There's no insult. Like, it's just what it is.
No,
like,
not at all. So, but it was a great thing. Great run for Serena. Came to an end, but, you know, maybe her daughter will be next up when she gets older.
One of them kids. Yeah. Venus got any yet?
I don't know.
Well, she better start having. So don't be that cool auntie.
She might. But you don't know. Venus is so private, so you don't know.
But you would know to a certain extent because she'd have to take some time off. Yeah. You know, so.
You don't know, but kudos to them. Yeah, and they did play their last match together as in the doubles too, so that was pretty cool for that to happen. All right. Did you happen to catch the WNBA playoffs last night?
Of course I did. I'm one of the pure supporters of the sport and of history of the sport.
Every time I watch the WNBA, I just keep thinking about that Bill Burr. That Bill Burr beat.
Shout out to Bill Burr, man. Boston's own.
That thing was so funny. But, man, Chelsea Gray had the green light in the second. Man, that basket was wide for her in the second half because it don't matter who was covering her.
She's like for one, so many records has been being set this playoff. She's like the first WNBA player to have 20 and 10 in 2 consecutive games in the playoffs. Yeah. So, like, she's a bulldog. And I love her energy. Am I that animated on the court? Nah, I'd rather be cool. But, like, I love all that.
Yeah,
I love all that.
And it was And what the Storm were doing, they were throwing so many different defenders at her throughout the series that she had like some points in the series where she struggled because they like put longer defenders on her and stuff like that. And then she figured it out, and it was just like once she figured that out, it was. Ooh.
And Breanna Stewart.
She had 41.
She did. I thought she had like 40. It was 41?
I'll double check.
I thought it was like 44.
She put a 40 piece up.
It might have been 41,
I'll double check for you.
But I felt like if she was allowed to do that the whole playoffs, because I felt like elimination game, she's going to go for the gusto. But I felt like she should have been able to take them type of shots the whole playoffs. Yeah. And I felt like they'd be in a better position. Huh?
42.
Oh, 42. Yeah. I felt like they would have been in a better position because she's been that player. Yeah. That type of player. But it's like allow her, I want to say, just take the leash off, man. Take the handcuffs off because you see what happened when you give her that many opportunities.
In that first half, she was just on go. It was everything she was throwing up was going in. She could throw the shot up with her eyes closed and it would go in. And I think we talked about this prior. It was they needed more from their bench and stuff, and they only got 3 points from their bench. This was one thing we talked about. And then you look at the Aces. They got 6 points from their bench, but you look at four players in double digits compared to only 2 for Seattle. So it was kind of like they just stormed on the storm.
Yeah, that was pretty much that's really all it was. And I'll be honest, nobody really seen the Storm beating the Aces.
Especially after I think we talked about how Asia Wilson, once she gets going, it's going to be hard for them to beat because I think the first game she had a really bad game.
Yeah, she played like trash and they shot awful. But one thing I will tell NBA guys, look at the level of skill that's out there. They don't shoot that bad. All 4 teams shot over like 40% from the 3 and the 2-point. There might have been one team that might have shot 36% from something. You know what I mean? But like, and people talk about the games not that interesting. Yeah, they're still highly skilled women. And when playoff time comes, they are like more than productive. And more than efficient.
Yeah, that fourth quarter, especially the final stretch of that fourth quarter, it was just a shot making because it was bucket after bucket.
How many teams lose when they shoot 44% from 2 and 44% from 3?
Rare.
Yeah, because the team you played shot 56% from 2 and 46 from the 3. Yeah. And we're gonna talk about the next game too, like.
Yeah. So the Aces they're back in the finals. I think this is their 3rd finals trip in the last couple years. I know they won it a couple years ago. And no, that's the next coach. We'll talk about that next game. But yeah, it was that fourth quarter was a highly competitive fourth quarter.
Also, too, Vegas is the newest. They're newer than Chicago, correct?
I believe so.
Yeah, the guy came in years ago, actually, yeah. Vegas, they're a new franchise, expansion franchise. You see how they cater to their players. You see how they are making finals appearances within their first couple years. Some people around the league might want to take notice and notes, because there's no reason why an expansion team, well, actually 2 expansion teams, because the Lynx they had a crazy run too. So like, you guys need to take some notes, because there's no reason why all your teams aren't turning a profit. Regardless if they make playoffs or not, you guys all have skilled athletes, and it's a professional sport, so you got to figure out a way to get the business up and going for all franchises.
Them people need to invest.
And too, shout out to Becky Hammond.
Yeah, she was coach of the year, correct?
I imagine so.
Yeah.
She aced in the finals.
Pedro, she was coach of the year, right? Yeah.
Shout out to Becky Hammond, because we had an issue, not with her, but how much they were trying to push her with the Spurs, and we said like, yo, we were all about women getting opportunities in our world, but why don't they improve their world? Yep. And she's doing that the next year.
Yeah, she might get an NBA shot in the next couple of years too.
Nah, she need to be like her own GM, or she need to run the league, bro.
She might.
My thing is, you can't have a couple good years and jump over here. No, fix that whole league, bro. Fix that league.
You never know. After somebody throws you money, it's like, well, thanks guys, gotta go. And then the first game of the night was Connecticut and Chicago, and this one it was Connecticut came out to play, and Chicago just looked so lackadaisical. I don't know if you saw that interview with Kalia Cooper, and she was just like, I don't know.
Enough said.
And she looked pissed. And yeah,
the game was over after that comment.
Legit, there was too many lazy passes, too many just like they was just there. I think the basketball was good. The basketball game was going on, and they were just there. They weren't really.
And they're the ones that shot 38% from 3.
Yeah.
So it's like.
And the defending champs.
Yeah, man, they just had a bad playoff. That's really all it is.
It's only. They got one more game. There's a do or die game at home, but. The way they played the last game, you don't even know what team is going to show up, and just that poor play could carry over. And it was that one play at the end of the third quarter where Candace Parker just threw the ball and gets stolen, and they get the buzzer beating shot.
Mental breakdown. But my thing is, where's the whole team at? The starters all in double figures trying to do something. Granted, some didn't shoot that well, but where's your bench? Where's your bench?
Where was anybody to do so? It was like they were looking for a spark the whole game, and they couldn't find anything. Even I think it was at one point the coach subbed out, did a massive sub, and it was just like, everybody she was putting out there was just like, okay, I guess we don't have it today in an important game. First a chance to go to the finals.
I mean, it's hard to beat a team that got 3 players come off the bench getting you double figures. Like,
and it's hard to beat the team when you just turn the ball over 15 times.
And
they don't turn the ball. They turned the ball over. Well, they turned the ball over a lot too. But
they shot 57% from the 2, bro. They shot 40% from 3.
They were making everything.
It don't matter how many turnovers they had when you shoot that well, bro.
Yeah, they were. No, they were legit. They were definitely making everything. And it was also, they got a lot of steals and easy layups too.
But the only thing, this guy didn't shoot too bad. They shot 47% from 2. But my whole thing is they're all shooting well. So that means you have to value the ball even more. I just told the NBA to take notes based on, like, we rely so much on being athletic. Focus more on the skill. The games be a little better.
Yeah, a little bit. So Chicago and Connecticut, they'll play one more. There's a do or die game. I believe that is tomorrow in Chicago. We'll see which Chicago team shows up. But awaiting them is the Los Angeles Aces, and the way the Aces are playing.
Vegas.
My bad, I said Los Angeles.
Nah, I thought Vegas. They moved, so you had me over here thinking.
My bad. I said I said Vegas, Las Vegas Aces are going to await the winner of this series in the NBA Finals. It happens. All right, let's go to college football. And man, what a start for LSU, huh?
You see my text. I called him Chip at first. Thought they were the same people. But Brian Kelly come over there, all that ridiculousness. I miss the old coach. I don't care who he offended, whose wife he hollered at. He still have a job. Like, that got nothing to do with football. Like, and this is what you bring in? Like, come on, bro. Oh, my. Oh,
Yeah,
bloopers at the end of the game. People fumbling at the goal line. Oh, my God.
They looked a hot mess.
They both did.
They looked a hot mess. At least Florida State, yeah, they looked a hot mess too, but at least they try to look like a decent football team for the most part. But LSU, it was.
It's because LSU has, we have expectations for LSU.
Yeah.
People just hoping Florida State figures it out and comes back to where they were.
Yeah.
So that's why we're giving Florida State, I want to say, a little bit of more grace than LSU.
Yeah, but they did. Yeah, but you are right. They did play terrible. they did play terrible throughout the game. And I mean, for all those special teams mishaps.
Oh my God.
And then you had a player do like the epitome of targeting. He just launched himself right, especially at a quarterback too, and he's surprised that he got ejected. Like, that's the epitome of targeting right there.
And too, like when you do special teams, I feel like they might treat special teams like we treat end of the game situations at the end of practice. We go through them, but let's try and get out of here, bro. We're trying to go home. Y'all need to focus on the special teams because special teams are very important. Yeah, as you see, determines winning and losing. And how do you lose on a extra point block? Are you serious?
Blocked. And it was pretty much a home game too because it was in New Orleans. That was pretty much a home game in the Superdome. And man, yeah, I would not want to be on campus at all for this.
I wouldn't want to be a lineman on campus because, like, hey, the skill guys, they'd be like, bad game. Them linemen, they got bullied to get blocked. No, stay in the dorm all week, bro. I'm telling my teacher, professor, I'm taking this week off, man. Yeah, send me on my work.
I'm sick.
I'm using diarrhea one of them days too. Best excuse around.
Oh my God! All right, and then this was Georgia. This just looked like varsity.
What they supposed to do,
man. This is the crazy thing about Georgia. I think they sent like 15 guys to the NFL from last year's championship team.
Yeah.
And I think they got another 15 that's about to get in the NFL as well. The way they was playing, they just retooled and reloaded, and they looked like they haven't skipped a beat at all. And Oregon, they was just, I mean, this shouldn't be a surprise because Oregon got a new coach, a lot of players transferred and stuff, so it was like, man, tough predicament for them to be in.
Yeah. For one, this has always been something they've always talked about when it came to these Pac-12 teams of Oregon. Like, can they beat any of the SEC teams? Granted, Oregon's not what Oregon used to be because Oregon had a crazy run too, but they could never win it. So I never thought Oregon had a chance in this game. It's just when you play SEC teams and a national champion caliber team, just try to stay afloat in the game.
And a team that's had like the top recruiting class the last several years. And there's guys on the bench that, it was bad. It was bad. A game was over in the first quarter. I'm like, man.
I like that Georgia's coming back to being Georgia. They're going back to, being what they once were, which is dope,
Yeah, they had to, they had to get rid of some skeletons, but they still, but. Yeah, it's gonna be a long season. I mean, everybody's just waiting for them in Alabama to play.
Yeah.
During that regular season matchup, because it's gonna be a long season for a lot of teams that are gonna play these guys. Because, man, I just don't see it. I just don't see where they're gonna lose until they play one of the other top 2 or top 3, one of the other teams in the top 3.
But this is how it should be. Yeah. I feel like this should be like 3-4 teams going undefeated. Personally.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
And then they should be able to, granted, hopefully they're straight to schedule. RPI is where it should be so they could all meet in the playoff. Because, some people go undefeated and their RPI is trash. Yeah. And it's like we're trying to advocate for these people, but it's like, bro, they don't play anybody.
Yeah.
So it's like.
And then it always shows when they actually put them in the playoffs against teams that played people. And
exactly.
Like, this is bad. Mm-hmm. All right. And then the last game of notoriety, Ohio State, they won an ugly one versus Notre Dame. Notre Dame was controlling this game throughout, but then they couldn't score.
Yeah,
they couldn't score, and when you're dominating a team or when you're in control, you gotta score, and you just can't leave the window open. And they left the window too open for Ohio State, and then it showed in that fourth quarter because Ohio State just took over in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, every time when the coach says we're not better than them one-on-one, player from player, but as a unit we are, you have to try to get some points every time down the field. Field goals, touchdowns. Try to get a safety if you can. But because once these guys start clicking, it's game over because you could just tell they just weren't used to playing with each other. Like it was the first game of the season.
Yeah.
That's all it was.
Yep.
And then second half, clicked in and game was over.
Yeah, the best time to beat a team is week 1 because week 1 you never know what's the product they're going to put out there just because it's been a while since they've been on the field. New guys getting acclimated to the offense. They had a chance to sneak one out of here, but they just, couldn't put the ball in the end zone here.
And Ohio State's type of team this year, they're like an avalanche.
Yeah.
Once they start rolling, just get out the way.
Yeah, they might be one of those teams that can win in 2 different styles. They could beat you scoring a lot, or they could beat you playing physical.
That might be one of the 2 teams that could go undefeated this year. Since you're not going to run into, Michigan State, but Michigan got a chance to go undefeated this year too. There's like 3 or 4 or 5 teams that can go undefeated this year. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that Big Ten got a couple of teams in there that has a chance. Even it's a good thing they all play each other up, so they'll balance each other up. But if Ohio State goes undefeated, man, speaking of that, playoffs. They're gonna implement a new 12-team playoff format in a couple years. They made this decision over the weekend, I believe. It was like over the weekend or Friday they made this. The NCAA made that decision for a 12-team format. I think 12-team is too much. I thought the most they should have done is 8. But even that, you're still...
There's always a chance of injuries, always a chance you're not going to be at full strength. And there's always a chance of something going wrong with more games, especially at the end of the tail end of the season when these guys' bodies are worn down.
Yeah, and then also I still think if you have a 12-team format, it's still those top 4 teams are still going to be head and shoulders better than all the other 8 teams. So it's just going to be like we're going to have this 12-team format, and we'll probably see the same team in the Final Four or the finals.
Yeah, because those first 4, they're gonna
have a bye.
They're gonna be the head of those conferences, and you're not gonna put the number 2 team because the other conferences got some guys that could be in those 5, 6, 7, 8 slots. So it's like unless you got like 3, 4 teams in the SEC playing in that joint, it might be competitive. But you got the 4 top teams, and then you got the second 4. The second 4 gonna get wiped down, bro.
Yeah.
There might be one team that might have slid if they lose early in the year, but like in all reality, they're getting wiped down.
It's gonna be ugly, and then it's just with the way the conferences are now, conference realignment and stuff. It's too much. It's too much. I think maybe 8 should have been the most, but I like the 14 format.
But regardless, when you do 8, your 8 best teams aren't gonna be out there. Because they all can't, the SEC and Big Ten, they're gonna cancel each other out so much that you can only have 1 or 2 one team from each. Then it's like, who else is gonna be able to compete?
Yeah. But I think the thing with this new 12-team format, it might change the way teams schedule and stuff like that. Schedule their regular season games.
Now, are they gonna take away some games from the regular season?
I don't know. I didn't read into it.
Because think about it, that's a whole 12 team. That's almost like 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Or to a month. Because you're gonna play every week. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That might be a month-long tournament.
Yeah.
So it's like you're gonna have to knock some games down at the end or something. Like this year, it doesn't.
Might go to 12 games or 11. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So.
We'll see what happens when that thing comes around.
They need to implement them big old astronaut helmets for all football, just so we can have the safest games possible. So you're not worrying about injuries and guys being so fatigued and bodies wearing down. That's one way to save some players.
Oh, you should have just kept it at 4 because I liked it at 4.
I mean, we all do.
Get it over with.
Yeah.
All right, NFL season starts this week as well. It starts tomorrow. So Craig is going to give you all, for those that have done their fantasy football drafts and have their players already, he's going to give y'all the who to sit and who to start for week 1. So check this out and we're going to come back.
What up, everybody, and welcome to No Hustle Huddle here on After the Whistle. It's your boy Craig, and I'm here to give you my starts and sits of week 1 NFL season. Fantasy football starts now. So let's go with my sit list. Number 1 on my sit list for the first week is Tua Tagovailoa. Going up against the Patriots, got a lot of different weapons on offense. Patriots D's tough. Miami plays us tough, but I think that Tua's going to have a rough week 1. Bill Belichick's not going to try to let him get one over on him. Therefore, I think Tua is not going to have a great start to the season. David Montgomery. The Bears are playing the Niners. Not looking good on that front four. So look at David Montgomery to not have a great game. Brandon Cooks going up against Indianapolis Colts, one of the best defenses in the NFL. It's a really tough matchup. I personally wouldn't want to put him in my starting lineup. If you don't have a choice, then it is what it is. But you probably drafted Brandon Cooks as a number 3, maybe a flex position. I would try to put someone else in there because, Colts are going to just do damage. Now, I will say this. Wide receivers do tend to do better in games in bad matchups because the run game gets shut down. Therefore, the pass game elevates. But I don't believe Brandon Cooks is going to score a touch. Zach Ertz. Kansas City's going up against Arizona. Arizona's tight end Zach Ertz probably will be seeing the matchup versus the Honey Badger. And that's just not a great matchup for him. So, therefore, I believe Zach Ertz is not to be started this week. Do what you must. Not everybody drafts 2 tight ends, and maybe he's your number 1 tight end. So, do what you will. And finally, I have the Bills defense going up against the Rams, reigning Super Bowl champs. They're going to come out needing to prove something. So, even though it's going to be a great matchup, and I don't know who wins that game, the Bills defense will not get you a W this week. Starts of the week, my biggest, I feel like, shocker pick is Jameis Winston. Has a favorable matchup this week against Atlanta. Mediocre defense, mediocre offense. So look for their offense to be on the field early and often. Travis Etienne getting his first start, got a good matchup, and he might not get a ton of carries because they don't want to overload him right away, but I do believe he gets goal line touchdowns, and he wants to prove that he got drafted where he got drafted for a reason, and being injured was the only reason why he wasn't top of the list. So we'll see what happens there. Another surprise, I would say, because they don't have a genuine starting quarterback, is Amari Cooper. Favorable matchup on defense, and I just think Cooper, is ready to play, and he's one of the best route runners in the NFL, and I think he scores an early touchdown. On a new team, it's going to look good. Tight end Gerald Everett, new to the Rams, not someone that they're expecting to have to look out for. You got a lot of good wide receivers. Gerald Everett is an excellent tight end who was plagued by not being on good teams. Now he has one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, and I think he is going to have the standout tight end performance of the week. And finally, 49ers going up against second-year quarterback Justin Fields. I think the 49ers D is going to have a field day with this Bears offense that only has one bright shining light in Darnell Mooney. So I think it's going to be a rough night for them. So start that 49ers D. And my complete start of the week, Denver Broncos going up against Seattle Seahawks, one of the worst defenses in the league, going up against one of the best offenses in the league. So I would start Russell Wilson. I'd start Jerry Jeudy. I start Javonte Williams, which you're obviously going to start. I might even put Melvin Gordon in the flex. Courtland Sutton, just play him. Oki Bonbon, whatever his last name is. Ain't nobody know how to pronounce that. Start them all. So that's my picks for you of the week. Hope it helps you, and good luck in your season. Out.
And we are back. Thank you, Craig, for that. I actually got another fantasy football draft tonight. Ooh, I be telling myself I ain't playing in these leagues no more, but I still find myself in it. It's too addicting. All right, before we go to NFL, we're going to do a +1 interview with my man Matt Feld, high school football reporter. We talked about his top 10. We talked about some games, some crucial games coming up. Well, I was going to talk to Matt. So check this out, and then we going to do a little quick NFL preview, just quick. Hello and welcome to another edition of the Plus One interview, and we have a returning guest. It's always fun when we have Matt on, Matt Feld. It's football season once again, and we got another year ahead of us. How are you doing, man?
I'm good, man. Yeah, it just feels like we roll from one season right into another. Sometimes it feels like summer never even happens.
I know, especially this summer. It felt like this summer just flew by real quickly.
Flew by.
Yeah, man. This is football is always a great time around here, especially with all the schools. I'm looking at your preseason top 10 right now. You got Catholic Memorial, Springfield Central, St. John's Prep, Central Catholic, Mansfield, Xaverian, Reading, King Philip, Methuen, and Duxbury is at the top 10 right now. We all know with Catholic Memorial returning a lot of guys. Catholic Memorial returning a lot of guys and a lot of speed. I mean, what about the other teams in that top 10? What makes them so good for this season?
Yeah, I mean, I think one thing you'll see certainly is I think you'll see more teams, particularly in the Catholic Conference, give the Knights a run for their money. Jonel Aguero coming back to St. John's Prep, one of the best players, not just in Massachusetts, but in the country, going to Georgia. He's an immediate difference maker. I think it's Everett, and you'll see Alfanaro's group, which was young last year, kind of put the pieces together and be much more competitive in the conference this time around. Reading has one of the best quarterbacks in the area in James Murphy. He elected to stay at Reading High School. It's a huge boom for John Fiore's club, who's always well coached. And Mike Reading, who once again has kind of restocked and reloaded at Mansfield. I think Division II has the chance to be really good. We all know about the strength of Division I with Springfield Central, Central Catholic kind of leading the way along with Xaverian and the Prep in that category. But Division II, Catholic Memorial, of course, the cream of the crop, best team in Massachusetts. And then the trickle-down effect of other solid Division II teams like Reading, like Mansfield. I expect Barnstable to be at some point in that mix, Milford. So I think Division II's got the chance to be awfully competitive.
Yeah, and off that, with the Catholic Conference, you think that's probably going to be the best conference this year, or most competitive conference, in your opinion?
I think when you look at those three teams, it's as good as any conference that you're going to see in Massachusetts between, again, Catholic Memorial and then Xaverian and St. John's Prep contending. I think the Hockomock League, which is always good and always has a litany of teams that are well coached. You've got Mike Strachan, going over to North Attleboro. Like I mentioned, Mike Reading and Mansfield, Brian Lee's King Philip team always is competitive. That's a conference that's always top to bottom, very strong, very heavy. And the Hockomock League, I think if you're going to take the private schools, the Catholic schools out of it, of course, that's probably the deepest league once again this fall.
Mm-hmm. And I know you're making your rounds to the practices of all these programs. I mean, so far, what programs have you visited, and what are some of the things that stood out to you in your visits to some of these practices? Granted, it's only helmets right now.
Yeah, only helmets. Teams finally getting the pads on this week. So it's kind of tough. It's a tough thing to kind of see. I would say, and I will say that the coaches that I've interacted with and seen have certainly been going full pedal to the metal. With 7-on-7 now so popular here throughout the summer across the state, sometimes when you get those helmets on, it feels like that you've been already doing this for about 6 or 7 weeks for a lot of these programs. Bill Ricka's, program, Dwayne Sigsbury, I know he's feeling really good about his club and his group, particularly with the way that they played in 7-on-7s over the summer. Milton, Steve Dembowski, they've got Owen McHugh, who's a terrific athlete to play under center. I think that they're expecting a huge year out of the Wildcats once again, or I'm expecting a huge year out of the Wildcats once again. Duxbury with Matt Festa at quarterback. They have always been contending for a Super Bowl. They lost in the Super Bowl last year. I expect them to be right back there again. And then, of course, I was over at Catholic Memorial the other day, and I feel like, every time I go over there, it's just feels like they've been practicing the entire year. And I use that facetiously in the fact that they just hit the ground running right away. A lot of their key guys are back from last year, so they just haven't skipped a beat. And John DiBiazzo, once again, second leading all active amongst coaches from a winning standpoint. He knows what it takes after winning Super Bowl last year to kind of hit the ground running once again.
Yeah, and as a team over here, I'm paying attention to St. Mary Spartans. They got a lot returning, and they added some players that some good contributors to their program. The only question with them is quarterback, but every other position they have guys from last year that made major contributions back. What do you see with the Spartans for this year?
Yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. St. Mary's always an incredibly competitive program from top to bottom. They, of course, won. They've won the league 10 times. They were the 2018 Division 7 Eastern Mass champions. They're athletic this year. They've got tons of speed, both in the backfield and at the outside. Like you mentioned, quarterback, a bit of a competition, but I think one thing the Spartans are going to be really able to do this year is run the football very, very effectively. I think when you're looking in that league, they're by far the team to beat. It's not even close in my opinion. And I think they're true Super Bowl contenders. They're physical, they're athletic, they're fast. Again, are they going to be able to throw the ball a ton? I'm not quite sure yet. But when you look at that program pedigree and look at the returners that they have coming back, I think they're as strong as anyone in the North. Well, I guess now in the statewide across the board.
Yeah, and there's a few teams out over in this area too that should be making a splash. I know I saw Marblehead just outside of your top 10. Are those guys? Do you think they have another run in them for Super Bowl?
Absolutely. Marblehead, of course, with the longest active winning streak in MIA football right now. I think there's no question about it. When you look at Marblehead and the program that's been built there, they're as solid as anyone. Connor Cronin, the linebacker, is one of the best linebackers that you're going to see around here. They've got Miles O'Neill at quarterback, who, in my opinion, is certainly going to be in the conversation for All-State when all is said and done. And I think when you look at the overall program, again, from a year in, year out standpoint, there are just those programs in Massachusetts, the Mansfields, the Kim Phillips, the Marbleheads, the Duxburys, that seem to just consistently reload. I think St. Mary's, Bishop Fenwick, and Stoneham are also somewhat, kind of in that conversation year in, year out. You get new pieces, new faces, and yet you get the same success. And Marblehead has certainly kind of established themselves as one of those programs. And I really think again, like I said, Connor Cronin, linebacker, you're talking about one of the best linebackers in Massachusetts, and I expect that to carry over once again this fall.
Yeah. And what is there some games in particular that you got circled on your calendar that you're really looking forward to attend this year? Because I know there's going to be plenty of games that really will have interest in the state of this season. But what are the certain games that you really are anticipating to attend?
Central Catholic at Springfield Central, or I should say, vice versa. Last year, Central Catholic played them, and Aiden Pereira famously had 10 touchdowns, which is just simply incredible from the quarterback position. There's going to be a rematch this time around. It was a rematch of last year's Division I Super Bowl. We're talking about an incredibly high-scoring affair. The last two times these teams have met, I expect that to be no different this time around. Catholic Memorial and St. John's Prep, of course, meeting in the middle of October at Catholic Memorial. Wouldn't be surprised if that matchup ends up deciding the Catholic Conference. Reading's taking a trip to Barnstable, two solid Division II contenders. Barnstable played up at Reading last year. I was at that game, incredibly competitive game. Now Reading returning the favor. Barnstable always with terrific line play on both sides of the ball. Physical matchup for Reading. I expect that to be a very, very well-played game. Duxbury Situate's always a game to look forward to, of course. I think Situate's probably going to likely take a small step back. They did win the Super Bowl last year. They lost a lot of the skill positions. They do still have solid line play, notably guys like Danny Thompson, but still a big-time rivalry game. But the game I'm truly looking forward to, though, like I mentioned, Central Catholic, Springfield Central, a rematch of last year's Division I Super Bowl and a rematch of last year's Week 1 regular season game with Aiden Pereira threw for 10 touchdowns.
Is that game early in the season?
I believe it's a Week 1 matchup. Yeah, I believe it's a Week 1 matchup. So it's about as good as an opener as you're going to get.
Now, I know you've talked about some of the players, that you feel are going to have breakout season, but who are some players that may be under the wire, not noticed right now, but that you think will really make a splash and get a lot of people's attentions? Those kind of underrated players that people aren't talking about right now.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot out there, right? And I feel like every time we go into the season, there's a couple unknowns, and then you look up by the end of the season, and you're like, "Holy smokes!" These players are incredibly in front and center when it comes to kind of determining your all-state teams. I think what you're looking at right now is a number of players that kind of fit that category across the board. To start, Jaden Abreu, quarterback at Lawrence. I think that he's someone that could really. Lawrence took a big step last year, making the postseason. In the first year of the statewide tournament. Jaden Abreu, a big portion of that, and he's back at quarterback. He's someone that I'm certainly taking a close look at. Carson Brown, St. John's Prep running back, physical kid, big lower half, strong, someone that can really grind you and wear you down. Someone that I'm certainly looking at to have a big time year. At tight end position, you got Nathan Anderson at West Bridgewater, Brendan Shapiro, Latin Academy, strong tight ends, particularly in the passing game that can have a big time season. And then, you just look across the board. You've got Danny Barrett at wide receiver at Peabody. On both sides of the ball, at the line position, I feel like stars always emerge. And Massachusetts has come home to some great linemen over the years. Guys like Will Gibbs at Bishop Fenwick this year, Anthony Elkins at Burlington. You've got Will Robke at Barnstable. Plenty of under the radar players across the state that I expect to kind of make themselves known over the course of the next couple months.
How much complaining are we going to get this year about the system, the playoff system?
A lot. We'll get complaining. It never fails. It never fails. I'm definitely part of the complaining. I don't think I help matter as much, but no, I mean, the complaining is absurd. It's off the rails.
At this point, the people need to realize you just got to accept it for what it is and just wait for the adjustments that they make or may not make.
No, that's exactly right. I mean, what's the point of you and I arguing about it? What's the point at this point? It's up to athletic directors, administrators, if they want to change it, to change it. This is high school sports. We're talking about 15, 16, 17-year-old kids playing. And I feel like 89% of the time it's, adults screaming about something. It's just totally ridiculous. The kids don't care. The kids will play freaking anyone. They'll play freaking 11 kids that just came off the beach. Like they don't care who they're playing against. They just want to play football. And I couldn't agree more with you. Plenty of complaining though. Never a doubt. Never a doubt. Yeah.
If you were to change anything or tweak anything about the system, what would you do? What would you suggest? Recommend?
Yeah. I would say the biggest thing is the margin of victory component. I like the statewide tournament. I like the idea of power ratings to see teams. I don't like doing it by record or anything of that nature. But I do believe that having margin of victory in football games or any sort of high school sporting event gets really kind of difficult from an ethical, moral standpoint. Teams on the 1 yard line that are up 7 with 5 seconds left, they don't. Most times, and the school of thought is to take a knee there. But if you can win by 14, it makes a big difference as opposed to winning by 7 now as it comes to seeding. And I just don't think that, if you beat a team by 7, you beat a team by 3, what's the difference? I mean, you win. You won the game. So I agree with power seedings. I like the statewide tournament, but I would like to see the margin of victory component changed.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, before we get out here, just a couple teams up here in the Lynn area. We got Kipp Academy. They had a 10-2 season last year. Got a lot of guys returning. Got their quarterback returning. Got a all conference receiver returning. What do you see for them?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Kipp Academy coming off a big season last year, like you mentioned, 10-2. They also have Vic Mayfo, a returning defensive back, who certainly caught a lot of people's attentions, I think, and has got the chance to kind of be a stalwart in the secondary. I do see I think one thing that you find with a lot of programs that are up and coming and maybe starting a foundation to build is that, it's not the first year of success. That's the hardest piece. It's the second one, third one, fourth one to kind of keep that sustained success going. And like you mentioned, Kipp's very fortunate in that respect that they get to return their quarterback. They get to return some pieces in the secondary. They have the running back. So I do think Kipp Academy definitely has the pieces there to keep the foundation and success going. And this is probably a big year for them because they want to translate that early program, early established success into multiple years. And they definitely have the returners to do it.
Yeah, and lastly, the other two, Lynn English and Lynn Classical, a lot of changes there. Lynn Classical quarterback is not going to be available this year from injury due to the Thanksgiving game. I mean, is it going to be a long year for them? Because it's looking like that.
You never like to speculate, right? Of course, like you mentioned, I mean, losing the quarterback is a bit of a killer in every respect. And Lynn Classical has been home to some great QBs the last couple of years that have put up some monster numbers. And so it's certainly a tough loss for them. I never want to say anyone's going to have a long year because you just don't know in high school football, especially in high school sports. A lot of programs lose things to injury. Guys, there's surprises from freshmen and sophomores that maybe you aren't expecting, but certainly, especially with the schedule those guys play. And when we all know who's in their conference and that they have to go up against in that one big week. It certainly makes out for a difficult and potentially challenging next 8 or 9 weeks.
And lastly, I was at Lynn English practice yesterday. One young team, a very, very young team, young everywhere, young at the quarterback positions. They got some guys that had little playing time on varsity last year that are getting more time. And then they start off their season. They're at Methuen, they got Swampscott, then they got Everett. Is that one of the hardest first 3 games that you've seen in a while?
That's a tough schedule. Everett and Swampscott, kind of speak for themselves in that respect, right? I mean, Swampscott, again, one of those programs that is always contending, not just for league championships, but in Super Bowl conversations. Everett is Everett. I don't expect, there might be a bit of a drawback and a tip of a downturn. Rob DiLoretto does a great job. They did lose Ishmael Zamore, who's, of course, now at Boston College. But it's still a great program. We all know what they're about. We all understand that the allure that program brings and the success that they've had keeping kids at Everett High School. And of course, new head coach at Lynn English High School with Anthony LaFrada, who does have great coaching experience, has been around, was already in the program, was at Wakefield Saugus, the whole deal. So he's been around. But like you mentioned, young team that might have to take their lumps this year against a really difficult schedule to start the season. But you hope as a coach and as a new coach that kind of raises the expectations and kind of sets the bar for a program. So maybe you do struggle this year, but you're hoping that being able to play against that competition helps kids understand what they need to do to get to that point.
Definitely. All right, Matt. Always great to talk to you. Please plug in your social medias and also where they can find your work and all that good stuff.
Yeah, you can find my work at the Boston Herald. I do help run the Boston Herald high school football section throughout the fall. So, of course, Friday, Saturday, Sundays is where we have a lot of your high school football content. And my social media, my Twitter, Matty, Matty, Feld, FELD 612, Matty Feld 612, keeping you updated throughout the fall.
All right, man. It's always great talking to you, man.
We gotta talk more often. It's like 3 times a year. Like I get the text and it's like
I know, man. I know. I'm teaching now, so you know how that goes, man. It's it's
nonstop.
It's a grind. But definitely, I definitely got to keep in touch with you a little bit more. Right, you guys have been watching Plus One Interview. Have a good one. And we are back. As I said, the NFL season kicks off tomorrow in Los Angeles with the Bills taking on the Rams. The Bills are a lot of teams' favorites to go to the Super Bowl just because they've been to the AFC Championship game the last 2 years and almost been there. People are saying this is the year for them because they have the quarterback, they got the receivers, they added players on defense. They feel like they're a complete team this year. And I'm just like, I don't know. Can they beat Kansas City though? That's the biggest question mark with them.
I mean, I like Josh Allen. Yeah. We speak pretty highly of him. Yeah. Even though we're in Patriots Nation, we don't really support the Bills too much, but. Good players, good players. So like, he's been getting better every year, which we've been saying. So I'm honestly hoping he performs well this year personally.
Yeah, I'm hoping too, because that domino effect when you're just almost getting there, then you keep getting knocked off. It's like then it's gonna be like, oh crap, they about to break this down or they about to break this up.
And they're known.
I mean, they still have the ghost of 4 Super Bowl losses in a row.
And you heard Taylor's joke on Instagram. What's Bill stand for? Boy, I love losing Super Bowls. I was like, oh man.
Yeah,
that was cold.
That's cold. But yeah, and then the Rams, they pretty much they got most of their guys coming back, all their key guys. They added some defensive guys. They might add OBJ back. I don't know what's taking them so long.
Why they might?
I don't.
What are we doing here?
Yeah, I have no idea.
And I like Ramsey's press conference. He wasn't talking too much. He just said, they good, we good. He's going to play, which I like that because since he won, he's acting like a winner. Yeah. He's not talking too much because you ain't got to talk. Just win.
Yeah, once you win, you want to win again. So you get that feeling you want to win again. So a lot of tomorrow it should be an interesting game because both teams are really good on offense and they're pretty good on defense. They got defense, so it should be an entertaining game to start the season off in LA. Football team in LA though. That's still like because it's like there's no fans there. Nobody's a fan there. Yeah.
That's one of the few places I haven't been to.
I've been there once.
Yeah, so.
It's like, because, the diehard LA fans, there's not really that. The only diehard LA fans are Laker fans and probably Dodgers. All the other ones, they were Raider fans.
I'm a Raider fan.
Or they're like out-of-towners that live in LA that just took over. So, yeah. Football season is here amongst us. quickly, Celtics news, Gallinari.
Yeah, man.
First, they said it was
stable.
It was there. Then he came here. Got the real doctors looked at it.
It's funny you say that, because somebody said something to me about it, like, oh yeah, it said it was stable. He goes, yeah, the Italian doctors looked at him. You got to come here first. I'm like, yeah, this is true. And then what happened? I honestly felt like they just said it was stable just so they didn't break the heart of the Celtics, because it's like, I'm over here like, oh,
yeah,
I don't know where the championship's going now.
I saw that. I was like, oh, well, that's some terrible news at this point in the summer.
And he was the piece I was excited for, because he's a bucket. Yeah. He's a big guy. And he put on size throughout his career, you know what I mean? Now he's like a 3-4 stretch that can post you up and shoot it, but now he's just going to be watching from the sideline.
They're saying they might sign Melo, so.
What you mean, Mike?
They might, that's.
Like,
yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, you need bench help, so.
Nah, it's because Melo's not a Sambo. Yeah. He don't do what he's told to do. He's just a real one, so he just does him. And people still give him a hard time about going for the money. But it's like he did what was best for him and his family. Yeah. And he's still Melo. I don't understand why they just be disrespecting him, bro.
That's like 12, 13, 14, 15 points coming.
And if you give him enough shots, he'll give you 20-something.
Right? Hey, man.
More than the whole bench for the Celtics is past playoff.
They need all the bench help they can get. All right. NCAA, some post-game interviews. First up, I went to Holy Cross Merrimack game on Friday. I'll tell you how I got that game after this. But first up, interview with wide receiver Jaden Coker, who had a touchdown and 60 yards receiving with 3 catches. So check this out.
All right, man, you got that touchdown late in the fourth period, I believe. I mean, he was wide open. What did you see on that route?
Well, I mean, quarterback said I was getting the ball, so had to show out. It's just great. I'm happy to be back. It's just been a long summer, and we just been waiting for this opportunity. So, way to make a play.
Your offense, you guys were really moving the ball well throughout the game, especially in that first half. What was working for you guys?
Definitely just trusting our guys, trusting our game plan. Just doing everything the coaches are telling us to do and just doing it at 100% for sure.
And how does it feel just to start the season off 1-0, kicking off a new season on the road, getting a road win?
It feels great, especially with a team like Merrimack. We kind of owed them a little, so definitely feels great.
And moving forward, what do you think? How do you view this game and helping you guys moving forward? Because it is a long season.
Yeah. I definitely think this game's going to help us. We're going to go back in the film. We're going to watch it. But our next opponent is a lot different from them, so we're just going to have to keep some things, but still just play with that same energy. And I think everything's going to be good.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And we are back. Next up is quarterback Matthew Sluka, who threw for 242 and he ran for 102 yards. And he totaled 3 touchdowns, 2 in the air and 1 on the ground. So check this out.
All right, man, you guys had a good offensive outing yourself. You ran for a touchdown, threw a couple touchdown passes. What were you seeing out there?
Yeah, I think the game's just happening a little slower. Like I said before, just learning the playbook has definitely helped me out. Last year I was still new to it, and so just understanding the coverages, understanding who my reads are, that has really been the biggest improvement I think for myself. But overall, as an offense, I think the versatility we have and being able to run the ball, pass the ball. We have weapons everywhere. Our run game has been great, and all up front, we didn't have any real pressure today at all. And then they did a great job blocking. We had great runs. So.
Definitely in that first half, it seemed like you guys had a real good flow to the offense. You guys moved the ball well. I think scored on the first couple possessions in there. Was that just you guys really having a grasp of everything and what they were trying to give you guys on defense?
Yeah, I think it goes back to camp. Our big focus on camp was focusing on ourselves. It's not really the team we're playing, it's ourselves. And a lot of times, you start with some penalties that we can put ourselves in trouble because of these penalties. And I think as long as we stay calm, confident, I think there's a really good chance that our offense does really well. And just, it worked.
So how good is it just to get a road win like this? It was a packed house in here, and you guys came out there and really just got this one?
Yeah, we definitely had this one circled on our calendar after last year, after getting beat pretty bad. So we definitely wanted to come in here and make some noise. But yeah, it was definitely a good win, good atmosphere, and we enjoyed it.
How do you feel starting off season 1-0?
It's great. It's definitely what you want to do. It's definitely the goal of ours. You try and go undefeated for the whole season, but you got to start with 1 game. So on to week 2.
Congratulations on the win.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, now check this out. Highlights from that game. Highlights from that season opener between Holy Cross and Merrimack. Check this out. And we are back. Okay. As I said, Friday, kickoff at Manning Field. They're going to kick off the new turf. First game is Kipp and St. Mary's. I talked to Kipp head coach about the matchup. Check this out real quick, and then we're going to come back, do some highlights. Week 1
I
picks.
knew I was missing something. I was supposed to wear my hoodie today, my St. Mary's joint.
Once again, September 9th. It's the first game of Manning Field.
That's right.
First game of the football season here. 5:30 p.m.
5 p.m.
5 p.m.
Oh,
They changed. They moved it
up.
to 5 p.m. That's how crazy this game is going to be. Please make sure. Let them know why they should be there, please, Coach. Let the audience know.
I tell you, this is a great game for the city. A great cross the street rivalry of two great teams in Lynn. And I think whatever win or lose, both teams will set the tone for a terrific season for both teams who are looking to get to their respective Division 6 and Division 8 Super Bowl. So get down to Manning Field early.
Yeah, get there early. Get there early, Coach. Appreciate it as always, man.
Thank you.
We're out of here. Also, there's a big fight happening this weekend with the lady that holds all the belts, 12-0 with 10 KOs. Clarissa Shields, is that her name?
Yeah, Clarissa Shields. She's only 12-0 with all the belts.
That's what it says here.
Oh.
Yeah, she's only 27.
Yeah, well, you know what I said. They need to do a Royal Rumble.
Yeah,
Just have one of each person from each weight class come in there and get the brakes beat off them.
Yeah, and it says here she's the arguably about she's the highest profile woman boxer ever. So I mean, you guys know more about her, but they're fighting at the O2 Arena, which is a pretty big arena in London to be selling out.
Yeah, I mean, I was calling her the greatest boxer, but it's like it's tough to call. You only got 12 fights.
Yeah, 12 fights, 10 KOs.
Nah, but it's tough regardless. You know what I mean? You got guys with way more KOs and way more fights, and women.
Yeah.
So it's like she's definitely a great though. She's gonna be one of the greatest, but it's like you just need more bodies to go against.
I don't know how many times they fight per year. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, she got like 6 belts. So that means you must have only won 2 fights in each class.
What's up, Pedro?
She's been undisputed in 2 weight classes. It's hard to do.
Undisputed in 2 weight classes?
Yeah, but you only have 12 fights though. That don't matter. I'm just saying, like.
I thought she was. Unless she started off her pro career. Did she start her pro career late or later on?
She's also been a 2-time gold medalist Olympian.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So it's like 20 fights?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not knocking her,
record,
but I'm just saying, like, for you to be considered like one of the greatest, you gotta have more fights. That's all.
She only 27, so she got a lot more fight in her. But as you guys describe her, she be whooping behind. So
I mean, she got all the belts. She beats the brakes off these ladies. Lashes too, beats everything off them.
I feel bad for her opponent, Savannah Marshall. She's gonna take on the challenge of fighting her. So maybe she could give her her first L, but Good luck.
At least get a run for her money.
Yeah, we'll see. Good luck.
Oh, real quick, Savannah Marshall beat her during the amateurs.
Oh, and that's a backstory we did not know.
So she doesn't just beat the brakes off of everybody.
Okay.
There's one kryptonite.
So maybe she got a little payback in the back of her mind right now.
All right.
All right. So the fight is Saturday in London at the O2 Arena for our avid boxer fans. So make sure you check it out. And yeah, that's a lot of belts.
Yeah, man.
Let me borrow one. All right, and we are back. Last but not least, highlights 2004. Check these football highlights out from 2004. And we are back. Quickly, got some high school sports. I believe St. Mary's girls soccer defeated Lynn Tech 7-1. I think it was 7. It was Tech. They beat somebody 7-1 the other night, and this is the city tournament.
Oh,
So
okay.
the city tournament. I believe they're gonna be in the finals.
It's like a 20-piece.
Yeah, today there's some games going on. I believe English girls and classical girls are playing, and yeah, the boys are playing today as well. I'm gonna go over there for a bit and drop by over there.
What time the game's at?
I think there's one happening right now, and then I think there's another one at 6.
I gotta go to lights out, and we get a new washing machine, so.
Oh yeah. Oh snap! Where we at? Week 1 picks. Okay. Yeah, we've reached that point. Thursday night football, Buffalo, Los Angeles.
Los Angeles. Oh yeah, the Rams. I'm gonna go Buffalo.
You know, Buffalo.
Yeah.
I will go with the Rams just because it's ring night and home opener after a championship. Usually a championship team always wins. New Orleans and Atlanta.
New Orleans.
Yeah, I ain't going against my boy Jameis. He's back. San Fran at Chicago.
Chicago.
I'm going to go with the Niners on this one. Pittsburgh, Cincinnati.
Oh, Cincinnati.
I'm with you on that, Bengals. Philly and Detroit. A lot of people are picking Philly to come out the NFC.
I mean, I'm picking Philly to come out this game.
I'm going with Detroit just because I like their coach.
He's hilarious.
Patriots, Dolphins. Everybody knows we don't pick up against the Pats here.
Yeah.
Baltimore and the Jets.
Ravens.
Yeah, we both going with the Ravens. Jaguars and the Commanders.
I'll go with the Commanders.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, Commanders. Cleveland at Carolina. Baker versus old team.
Oh, he's Carolina.
You going Carolina?
I don't know who to go with. I'm just
Yeah,
picking
I'm gonna go
Carolina.
Cleveland.
Right.
Indianapolis and Houston.
Yeah, I don't even know who these quarterbacks are on the team right now.
No, Matt Ryan's the
Where?
Colts quarterback.
Who they playing?
Houston.
I'm picking Houston.
I'm gonna pick the Colts because Jonathan Taylor. That's why. Giants and Tennessee.
Tennessee.
I will go with Tennessee. Packers, Vikings.
Packers.
Packers always beat the Vikings. Chiefs, Cardinals.
Chiefs.
I'm going with the Chiefs. Raiders and Chargers.
Oh, you know I gotta go with my Raiders, man. I got to.
Yeah,
I got to.
I'm gonna go with the Chargers for week 1.
Gotta
Tampa,
go.
Dallas, Sunday Night Football.
Tampa.
Bucks, and Monday Night Football, Broncos and Seattle. Seattle.
Broncos.
Yeah, Broncos. So yeah, Seattle don't got no quarterback. Hey, that's it. We made it through. Yeah. Happy birthday to my brother. This weekend's his birthday. I forgot to wish my mom a happy birthday on last week's show, but you know,
Last week, my cousin Desire turned 18.
Oh, yeah.
Love you, girl. Gonna take her out probably this weekend or next weekend.
happy birthday to her and all the September babies out there if we forget y'all. Oh, man, this was a good one. We were supposed to have Stevie and Patrick on, but he didn't answer my calls or he ain't respond to my texts. We're going to get him on because we got some grilling to do.
That heat in the back of his neck, he's trying to avoid it.
All right. All right. We'll see y'all next week. Make sure you follow LCTV After the Whistle Instagram, lyntv.org, the website, Lynn Community Television Facebook, Lynn Community Television YouTube, Mr. Burton 23 on Instagram, Mukala K on Instagram, the man in the sky, Pedro, back in full effect, and yeah. We out of here. Have a good one.